Thanks so much for tuning in to watch this video. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new punk rock videos every week. Drop a comment on this video and give the video a share if you want to support my DIY channel. And if you're interested in advertising on my YouTube channel, feel free to email me at lastrockerstv@gmail.com. And don't forget to subscribe to Last Rockers TV, the podcast, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Erin, Micklow, and I'm here at Rebellion with Millie Manders. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Tired. It's Sunday, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We just had coffees. A very nice gentleman named David was eavesdropping on our conversation of us catching up, talking about boys, and he was like, "Let me buy your coffees."
I mean, that was the polite thing to do after listening into our 20-minute conversation. Mm-hmm. But he was a really nice guy.
Yes, we're here to entertain.
Thank you,
David, if you're watching this. So you played twice yesterday. You played the Almost Acoustic stage, and then you also played the Casbah, which both performances were completely lit. I loved it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was highly surprising to me. It always surprises me, but the Rebellion family always turn out for us, and they're always incredibly kind. So yeah, it was a great time. Yeah, we were talking about that, about how Rebellion is really good at kind of mentoring and fostering artists, like with you, that they move you up every year, even with me here, kind of me graduating as well. They're really, really good about seeing potential talent and giving the talent room to grow. And not only that, but they give us huge opportunities. They trust us with things that other people wouldn't trust a smaller artist with. So to be on at 10:15 before Die Totenhausen last night was just like a huge opportunity for a band of my size. So I will never not be grateful to Rebellion for trusting me with stuff like that.
Were you right before them?
Literally just before them. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Yeah. So the room was full with lots of German people coming in to get their spots already. No, actually, because from front to back we had people singing our songs. So it was absolutely our crowd. Yeah. I'm sure there were some people there being like, I'm going to save my space at the front of the barrier and not move. But it was incredible to see so many people in the room that actually know our songs, and it was so loud, like the voices were so loud. It was just, it's going to be a seminal memory for me, basically, last night. All the promises you made, and all the fantasies we chased, the stories that I thought in child, we believed in every line, and all got too serious, and that's the plan to disregard. I tried to hold on to the edge, and I'm so falling to my death. Now you're gone, educating a new day. I'll be the come on, give it to me. So wait, it was great last night, and I did notice that all your fans, they were so excited. You're really good at hyping the crowd up.
Thank you.
And in a funny way too, how you were like, okay, if you don't know this one verse, if you can't get that, it sounds like you've been at Rebellion too long and your ears have been. Yeah. And I was listening to that song today. It was the one that got away.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's such an easy chorus that if you can't hear it and learn it by the end of the first chorus, you probably are deaf.
Yeah. So let's talk about your current band lineup. I don't recall the girl on the bass. Has she always been in the band?
So she's been with us for 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. Joe has been with me for 3. And Pete, actually, his first ever show with us was the R-Fest last year.
Okay.
So his first show was playing in front of 6,000 people.
Yeah.
And he's just incredible. He's such a nice guy, and he's just fit right in, and he's kind and generous and an incredible drummer. Thanks, Pete. I love you.
That's awesome. So can we talk about your songwriting? Yesterday you debuted one song on your acoustic stage. Yes. That was it was called Me Too.
That's correct. Yeah.
And like I look over and there's one woman just bawling her eyes out. Can you talk more about that song? A lot of your songs do kind of touch on this issue.
Yeah. So Me Too is about rape culture, and it's about the blame culture around the victims, and the fact that so many of us, we don't even bother going to the police, because when you're in the judicial system, it's literally like, unless you can give us CCTV footage of you being raped, there's no point in going.
Yeah.
Like, and just in the last 3 months, I've had several friends talk to me about their rape stories.
Yeah.
And it's just constant. I don't know any women that haven't been raped or don't have a sexual abuse story.
Same.
And so, yeah, I've written this song. It's largely based on a trial that happened in Ireland a few years ago, where a girl literally had to display her knickers and explain why she was wearing frilly knickers under her clothes, because obviously that was tempting the guy. Yeah. That was part of the defense for the guy's rape of her. So I just feel it's such a huge subject that isn't spoken about enough, and especially not vocally in a way that gets it out into the public forum, that I wanted to write a song that's hopefully powerful enough that really explains that until every woman or every person with a womb is treated like a victim when they say I've been raped, then none of us have honest over our bodies. We're still objects.
Yeah, I mean, we're in such a weird time though too now, because on the flip side of it, you are seeing people that are using that and calling people sex offenders that are not.
Sure.
I mean, I have my own rape allegations myself against me, which is just absurd.
Of course.
And then you wonder, like, things like, I don't know if you saw the stories that just came out about Justin from Anti-Flag, but that too, and it's like, is this really true?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, we're in such a weird time where I feel like, you know, victims need to be taken seriously, but then there's those people out there that are potentially exploiting that of like,
sure.
And it's what it's doing is it's invalidating actual victims.
And I completely agree with that. Thankfully, it's an incredibly small minority of people that will take advantage of that opportunity to blame somebody for something that they haven't done.
Yeah.
But equally, the problem is with that is that if there's only one person that's doing that, it again is detrimental to the justice system for the victims, because it's reinforcing that idea that the victim then has to be completely interrogated before they all believe them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's twofold disgusting that people are then falsely accusing somebody of rape. But we know that really the vast volume of victims are telling the truth. And so you kind of need to go, okay, well, I'm going to believe the victim and then get to the bottom of it. You know, at the time. But
and the
I
thing
think
is,
it's awful that you went through that.
Well, and, you know, on the other side of it, being, you know, sexually abused and, you know, raped myself at a young age, but rape in a way where it was like a friend, and then they told me I wanted it, and I was drunk, and then but I'm knowing in my bones, and like kind of really sitting on that, because it's like, when you're a victim, you're scared to come out about it.
Of course.
Because you're gaslit, and you're told like, oh my God, like this didn't happen, and then you're confused, and it's just like, you know, as women, you know, we're conditioned to just kind of hide a lot of things.
Well, I think also there's that thing with rape, it's that a lot of people see rape as a really violent act. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's like,
it's not always.
If you're lying there and you have to say no 20 times, and then you give in because that's the only choice you have, you've been raped.
Yeah.
You know? And if you're too drunk to say yes, and you're kind of vaguely pushing them off but are unable to fully push somebody off, you've been raped.
Yeah.
You know? And there's so much of that goes on. And again, myself, other women I know, we've all had those experiences where you end up just giving in because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're so persistent that you're exhausted by the time that it actually happens. But people don't see that as rape.
Yeah.
People don't understand the concept
of consent. They always just
consent.
Think of the violence of it, of like the really violent acts where it's very forceful. Because I remember a girlfriend in middle school that happened to her, and unfortunately her rape case was forceful. You know, and it's awful when that happens, but like you said too, I agree that it's like, it's not always that.
I would say the vast majority of rapes are actually people that you know, people that are coercive and get you to a point where you can't say no anymore. Like people in marriages or in relationships that say, but you're my partner, so that's your duty.
Yeah.
That is also rape. So unless, you know, for those of you that don't understand, consent is when somebody absolutely and joyfully says yes.
Yes. I feel like we've talked about that a lot, and I'm happy to bring more awareness to that on my channel, and just speaking to female musicians. You know, I feel like it's our duty as strong women, you know, with a platform for a voice, to just talk about these things, because that's all we can do. I mean, you know, talking to Steve Ignorant yesterday, I was like, oh, well, your songs with Crass, you know, he's like, I hoped more would have changed by now, but all we can do is just keep screaming.
Yeah, 100%. It's like a song of mine, Poor Man's Show, about the NHS and about police brutality and about all of these issues. I wrote that 7-8 years ago, and all that's happened is it's just gotten worse and more relevant as time's gone on, and you're just like, what can you do other than just keep talking about it and hope that the awareness is coming up?
Yeah. Well, so can you talk about, you know, what inspires a lot of your other songs? On the flip side of it, you do have a lot of love songs, you have a lot of breakup songs.
I do, yeah. So those ones are obvious. Obviously, like some of them are direct experiences. Some of them are like I'll cherry pick an experience of my own and then fabricate other stories, because that's what songwriters do. You know, we're all storytellers at the end of the day. The new song that's coming out in October is about people who don't speak to me for years, and then they get hold of me and like, so can I get guest list to that major festival you're playing? And I'm like, no. I don't even know you anymore. So that's called Shut Your Mouth. Yeah. Because you kind of get bored of fair weather friends, like on any level. Yeah. Rebound is kind of about people on dating apps that end up getting in a relationship with you, and they're just mirroring all of the friend like feelings they had for somebody else, and it's just a total rebound, and it's just a dick move.
Yeah. Like we talked about off camera before the start of the mirror, the window, the door.
Right, yeah. So that's literally about people getting to relationships on a rebound, and it's just really sucky when they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, I don't feel like that for you at all, and all of this was a lie, and you're like, cheers. Yeah. So
love bombers.
Yeah, most of my songs are angry. There's something that I'm just angry about, and it helps me get it out. Yeah. It's like journaling for me.
Yeah, no, one of my favorite songs of yours is Bitter, because it's like, you know, like we talked about in the coffee line, it's like there's some guys that are nice, it ends peacefully, they're still good guys, we just didn't work out, and you can be acquaintances, you say hello, give them a hug, and then there's some where it's just like, no, bitter.
Yeah, like so bitter, please do not ever contact me again.
Don't ever contact me, I will literally rip your dick off and set it on fire.
Pretty much, yeah. I will watch you be skinned. Thank you.
That's a good one, though. It's so angry. It's like, I'm like, oh, sorry. We're trying to rise above, but sometimes you just have to be a little bit bitter.
Journaling.
Shit. So you guys are actually working on a new album. Yes. Can you talk more about that?
So we've written a bunch of songs. We're going through the process of, are they the right songs? Do we need to do another writing session? Like that kind of thing. But hopefully we're going to be in the studio in December. Okay. So we're hoping to have the next album out by spring. Awesome. And then doing the album tour from spring onwards.
Let's talk about your Patreon. That's one of the things that you do to kind of help fund and support the band.
Yeah. Well, actually, I use Patreon more to support me and pay my rent, because I do all of the Patreon myself. It's all me personally doing the live streams and connecting with fans in a completely different way. Yeah. The top tier, you get something handwritten, handmade, or recorded every single month. Awesome. So sometimes it'll be a lyric sheet. I made little snow globes, but of beaches with sand from local beaches for 1 month and stuff like that. So otherwise, it's like you do polls, you get a live stream every month, you get behind the scenes stuff. Like yesterday, I did a little interview with the band to ask what their favorite bands were of the weekend and put it into our private group so people could see that interview and stuff like that. Yeah. It's really fun, and it's really nice to connect to people in a completely different way, and they get to know me more personally. Mm-hmm. On that level. But yeah, help me pay my rent, please. Thank you.
Well, that is nice that they have platforms like that now too. Like, you know, people that want to support their favorite artists, like it does go into that of like, okay, it's worth paying for, because, you know, you hear, I at least hear it time and time again talking to musicians, like it's a lot of these tours are really hard. Like you know, some of them you're paid, but like it's not enough money for how much goes into it. You hit road bumps of like sometimes, you know, unfortunately bands' gear gets stolen, stuff breaks, and it's exactly. Like you need money.
Yeah, I mean, last year we were really lucky. Our fan base really helped us out, but my van died after only a year of owning it. $8,500 that down the drain immediately, and half of that was like a bank loan. Yeah. So in debt, no van. $8,500 in a hole, and the fans really brought together a load of money so that we could hire vans to get us through that period while we were waiting for some show money to come in. But even without stuff like that happening, really, even bands at the top of their game these days, they're relying on merch sales to make sure that they can put petrol in the van, pay for accommodation, eat while they're on the road, and pay themselves not even a good wage. Like, I'm talking like maybe 50 quid a show to pay your rent, because you're not working when you're on the road. You can't work. And if you're touring as much as we are, sometimes we do upwards of 100 shows a year. We can't have normal jobs like other people, so we have to be able to pay ourselves so that we can pay our rent and stuff. And it's literally a tiny stipend, but it's really difficult to get to that point in order to do that.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, being DIY outlets, you know, even myself, like coming over here to England with my show, it's like I have a normal day job, but it's like, you know, what I do is like I'm batch shooting, and for you, like you said, when you're doing 100 shows a year, you can't really do your other work when you're touring. Like I know some musicians that try, they have jobs where they work remotely, but they really struggle with it.
Yeah, I mean, I do, I work for a merchandising company, and I speak to a lot of bands. I do artist liaison, but they know that when I'm at a festival like this, I'm working my merch desk. Yeah. I'll talk to bands about the company while I'm seeing them and saying, you know, going to watch their shows or anything. But really, I'm not here to network for them. I'm here to see bands, see friends, and sell my merch. So even those remote jobs are incredibly difficult when you're on tour.
Yeah, because like when you're on the tour, you need that to go to well, so that's your job.
Yeah, all of your energy has to go into making sure you get a good night's sleep, good food, and doing as best a performance as you can, because your fans have paid for those tickets, you know, so everything has to be about them and making sure that they feel like they've had a great night.
Yeah. Things do you do to prepare for a show?
I do a lot of stretches.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of classical vocal scales.
Yeah.
Because I do so many different vocal acrobatics when I'm on stage. Everything from sort of head voice to screaming. So I need to make sure that my voice is really healthy, and your voice is part of your body. So I have to try and make sure my entire body is healthy. Otherwise, you ain't getting the best out of my voice.
Yeah. And we talked about that. We're both vegan. You've been vegan for a while, and plant-based. Trying to get some veggies.
I love being vegan.
Yeah.
Like the rainbow of foods, obviously. Even if it doesn't matter what diet you have, if you don't have a rainbow of foods in your diet, you're not going to get all of the nutrition that you need. But yeah, I went vegan maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and immediately my energy levels spiked. I felt fitter and healthier. Exercise worked better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not going away. But also, I love animals.
Yeah.
So
same. Plant power.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what else you have coming up in your personal life and with the band.
So personal life at the moment, I'm very happy. So that's nice.
You got a boyfriend?
I do. I got a boyfriend, and he's awesome. Mark, if you're watching this, I love you. That was really cringy. I don't really care. Get over it. So I've got a couple of weeks off. I'm probably going to do a lot of paddleboarding and going to the beach and enjoying part of the summer. Then we're back in Germany. And then really over the next month before the tour, we need to make sure that we're looking at getting the next live set. So we're going to be doing 1.5-hour sets on our next live tour. So it's about making sure that that show is at the top of its game.
Yeah.
And then after that, it'll be preparing the songs to go in the studio for the album. So it's going to be a really busy time now, right up to the end of the year after my 2 weeks off, of just making sure that the songs are ready, that the pre-production's there, that we're communicating with our producer and our management team, making sure the shows are perfect. And then once the album's recorded, it's going to be the promo train. You know, music videos, artwork, promotion, and then into the touring period when we release.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's really exciting. I'm so excited. I'm scared. It's stressful, but I'm so excited.
Because I remember you dropped your last album in 2020, and even that, like dropping that kind of in the pandemic, it was a lot of work, and you did do a lot of press, and you did the best you could to continue to promote it despite, you know, a global freaking crisis of like we can't see anybody.
But actually, do you know what? For me, having that lockdown period meant that I could concentrate more on the promo because I wasn't out on the road.
Yeah.
And I think it benefited me. Obviously, tragic and awful that so many people died and all the rest of it. But in terms of not having to be on the road, it gave me that opportunity to really think about how I wanted the fans to receive the songs.
Yeah.
You know, and what I wanted to do in terms of promoting that. So I was able to do limited edition merchandise, give to loads of charities on each of those limited edition runs. And so now I've got that in my head, and that's kind of how I'm going to start doing the next album tour. I got to learn how to promote my album because I was just sitting there doing nothing else.
Yeah.
And I can now take that and place that on and make it even better for this one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to close with that and say thank you so much for giving me some of your time today.
Oh, Erin, I love you to pieces, and it's been so nice to see you and catch up.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Millie Manders from Millie Manders and the Shutup, and you're watching Last Rockers TV.
I'll be the one that's gonna